about a little late, maybe a day late, but I got stuff to do. And obviously I'm in a hotel, so we're going to get after it. We're going to take a look at this. My guy, The Minority Mindset, made a video on it. And I watched a few videos, so we're going to react to this really quick. And yeah, come take a look.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jaspreet Singh, and we're doing this again off my phone in downtown San Diego, this time inside, but I'm doing this video because
That's what I should have did. I should have did it off my phone. It probably would have got out a little faster.
Found out that the Twitter board is letting Elon Musk buy the entire Twitter company. So Elon Musk is about to buy Twitter after a wild roller coaster where Elon Musk bought a chunk of Twitter, and then he joined the board of Twitter, and then he left the board of Twitter. Then he said he wanted to buy the entire company. The board said no. They tried to do a bunch of things to not let Elon Musk buy the company, and now Elon Musk is officially buying Twitter. Let me read you a quick statement. One is by the Twitter company, then one is by the chairman, the board of Twitter, then one is by the CEO of Twitter, and then we got Elon Musk's statement. I'm gonna read you these quick statements, give you some analysis, and then talk about what happened and some things that you should be aware of, the educational side. So Twitter said that it has entered into a definitive agreement to let Elon Musk buy the entire company for $54.20 per share, valued at about $44 billion. And at the completion of this, Twitter will become a private company. We'll talk about what that means. Under this agreement, if you are a stockholder of Twitter, so if you own shares of Twitter, you will get $54.20 for each share of Twitter that you own at the closing of this transaction. So that's a 38% premium on your shares from when Elon Musk initially bought some Twitter. This is back on April 1st. So 38% premium because now Elon Musk is getting involved. So not bad for less than a month of holding.
So on April 1st, the price of Twitter was $39. So give or take one for $15. That's not bad.
Onto the company. And then you have the chairman, Twitter's board chairman, who came out and said that the board conducted an analysis and a comprehensive process to assess Elon Musk's proposal, and they said that it's the right thing to do, especially because the shareholders are getting a premium on their shares. It's a very interesting thing for him to say. You can tell it's a very political statement because the board hated the idea of Elon Musk buying Twitter.
So here is what it was Tom Nash who said it, and it kind of made sense to me. They were saying the reason why the board decided to sell Twitter right now is because the earnings season was coming out. And obviously, if you haven't been living under a rock, we're actively going into a recession. Prices are dropping. Cryptocurrency, I've lost a couple thousand these past couple days. And it is what it is. So they were saying, because, I mean, if you've seen what happened to Amazon, where they came out with their earnings and everything, and the stock dropped tremendously. That's why Twitter decided whatever news that they were supposed to come out with this week might not have been so good. I mean, people are going outside more, so I can't imagine that the amount of people that were joining Twitter are continuing to join Twitter, because there's other things for you to do besides stay in the house. So Elon, they took that opportunity to make some money off of the company, and that's kind of what it was.
Just a couple of days ago, so got to give a political statement. Then you had the CEO of Twitter coming out saying that Twitter has a purpose and relevance that impacts the entire world. He's proud of his team and inspired by the work more than ever. Now, the interesting thing why he kind of said it like that, maybe he's worried about his potential job in the future. We'll get to that in just a second as well. And then we have Elon Musk's statement. He said that free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy. Twitter is the digital town square where it matters the most. And so he wants to make Twitter better. And the way he wants to make Twitter better is he wants to, one, allow for more free speech, change some of the algorithm, make it more open source to increase trust.
So allow more free speech. I thought that was pretty interesting too, that only because everybody was talking about Donald Trump coming back to Twitter, but Trump was saying that he doesn't, he tried to start his own platform, even though a lot of people said it flopped. I'm not gonna lie, I think it did flop. I mean, and that's not me being political. I don't care which way you go, left, right, up, down, who cares? But Do I think he'll come back to Twitter? I don't even have I do have a Twitter. I don't ever use it, but it is what it is, you know? Like, I don't think it was right that they took him off of Twitter after he didn't win the presidency. It's kind of, but it kind of is what it is. Like, who decides what is right and what is wrong? Like, you might not agree with the whole LGBT thing, or you might agree, but who are you as a specific company? How do you have the right to just tell people what they should be able to see and what they shouldn't be able to see? But it's also funny because that's exactly what the news has been doing forever. So now that we have YouTube and you can see a whole bunch of different views, and so if you're in an echo chamber, you're probably in it because you want to be.
Wants to defeat some of the spam bots, and he wants to do more authentication of humans. Now, the interesting thing about this, let me just get to the board. Because the reason why it was so difficult for Elon Musk to buy Twitter was because, well, the board didn't want Elon Musk to buy Twitter. There's a few reasons for that. One, Elon Musk wants to completely change Twitter. Like, he talks about free speech. The best example I can give you of this is after the last election where Joe Biden was elected, President Donald Trump was taken off of Twitter because he violated some of their policies. So some people felt that this was censorship, that they are not allowing free speech. So there's been a lot of issues regarding this whole free speech, especially when it comes to social media. Elon Musk is not a fan of that. So he talks openly about how he wants it to be a more open platform. So the board was not a huge fan of that. Second, Elon Musk says that he wanted to take Twitter private. So Elon Musk doesn't like the regulations that are involved when you are a public company. When you're a public company, that means you're traded on the stock market. Anybody can buy and sell shares of the company. And that is good for raising money because now you can sell shares to the open market, but it comes with a ton of regulations. Because when you're a public company, one, not only do you have to disclose everything going on with your company, from the financials to, you know, your plans, your goals, things that you have done. You have to be completely transparent when you are a public company. But you also are more limited in some of the things that you can do. So he wants to take it private, that way he can have more control over the company. That way you don't have to have it diluted with some of the shareholders. And when you are a public company, you also have the opportunity for somebody to come in and buy the entire company, because now that's exactly what Elon Musk did. He went in, saw the share price, and he bought out the company. He had to deal with some hardships. I'll go over what a poison pill is in just a second. He had to deal with some hardships with the board, but this is actually what the founder of Twitter said, Jack Dorsey. He said that when you're a public company, you're always on sale. So he wants to take it private, that way he can have more control. And the third reason why the board did not want Elon Musk to buy the company is because he openly said that if he owns the company, if he buys the company, he is going to strip every board member from their salaries. So right now, the Twitter board is making collectively around $3 million a year in salaries and income. And he at least says that he wants to get rid of that because, well, Twitter is having some struggles financially, and so it's an easy way for them to add another $3 million to their bottom line by just not paying their board. So obviously the board doesn't want to lose their $3 million salary, so they didn't like that. So those were the issues of Elon Musk potentially buying the board and, buying the whole company. And that's when Elon Musk originally went out and said that he wanted to buy the company, and the board shut it down. So if you remember, just a few days ago, Elon Musk said that he was going to join the board for Twitter, and then the next day he stepped down. He said he doesn't want to join the board. The reason why is because the board made him agree that if you join the board, you are not allowed to own more than 15% of the company. So as soon as he heard that, he had something else in his mind. He wanted to own the entire company. So he turned around and said, no, I'm not going to join the board, because he didn't want to do that. So then the board said, okay, whatever. Elon Musk then puts out an offer to buy the entire company because he wanted to make a whole bunch of changes. And first they were saying no. Then he said, okay, if you're not going to let me make the changes that I want, then I'm going to buy the entire company. That's when the...
That's the kind of money I need. I need FU money. Like when I walk in some place, if you disrespect me, I buy the whole business just to fire you. That's the kind of money that I want. Like, this is the changes I want to make. And if you don't like it, I don't care, like stepping on people's necks.
The board enacted something called a poison pill, which essentially what that means is they said that if you are an existing shareholder of Twitter, that you can go out and buy some shares at a discounted price. So if you own 15% or more, you wouldn't be able to do this. It was essentially a way for the higher owners to go out and buy more shares and dilute Elon Musk's ownership. That's why it's called a poison pill, because now it makes it much more difficult for you to exert control, makes it much more difficult for you to go out and buy more shares, because now you're being diluted while you're trying to buy more shares because they have this ability to buy shares at a discount. So that was when the board enacted this poison pill, but then there was a lot of controversy between the shareholders, the executives. It just created this whole mess, and eventually they gave in. Elon Musk is now going to be able to buy the entire company. He's buying it at a premium, which means that if you are a stockholder, you get a little bit of a benefit. You get a little bit of a boost. It was like a 30-some% bonus compared to the beginning of April 2022, because it's just something that you get because, well, now you don't get the shares of the company anymore. You're no longer going to be an owner. Elon Musk is going to own the shares, and then he's going to take the company private. So it's no.
That's so interesting that everything that you own, like, they can just say, nah, I'm selling it. Like, what if you bought those shares originally and they were at, I don't know, like everything has crashed. Well, let me check. Let's say the stocks were, you bought them. I don't think they were ever at $50-something, but hold on. Oh, in February of 2021, that was last year, they were at like $77. What if I bought them at $77 and yeah, he's saying he's buying them for $54, but I'm still selling at a loss. And it's kind of messed up that I can't just hold my stuff and wait, like, because the board says so. Like, that gives me a different perspective about trading stocks.
No longer going to be a public company. It's not going to trade on the stock market anymore, and Elon Musk is going to be in charge of it. So that's going to change the way that Twitter works. I mean, he's gonna change the way that Twitter runs. We already know he wants to change the algorithm. He wants to make some changes about free speech. Maybe the president Donald Trump will come back onto Twitter. There's going to be a lot of changes with this. But the thing that I want you to understand on the financial side is, who do you work for at a company? Even if you are an executive, you are the CEO of a company, who do you work for? Because you might think if you're the CEO, you're the head boss. You're the one that's running the company. Who do you work for? And that's not true. And this was a tough lesson for me to understand too, because you don't really see it until something like this happens. You work for the shareholders. You work for the owners of the company, even if you are the CEO. There's a difference between being the CEO and owning the company. Now, if you are a startup, you're just starting off, you might be the same person. You might own the company and run the company. Mm-hmm. But as you get bigger, there's a difference between the owner and then the people that actually work in the company. The owners are the people that tell the executives what to do. The executives have one goal. And this is where you get to see a lot of debate. People say, oh, the executives are not paying people enough. They're not running the company well. Well, the executives have one goal. And it's not to keep the customers happy. It's not to keep the employees happy. Their number one goal is to drive up shareholder value.
Yeah, more stakeholders than just shareholders.
Now, this might seem very mean, but that is your fiduciary duty. That is your role. That is your duty as an executive of a company. Your job is to take care of the owners, the shareholders. Your job is to drive up shareholder value. And how do you do that? Well, if you want to drive up shareholder value, you need to make the company more attractive. If you want to make a company more attractive, the first thing you got to do is you need to make more money, make more revenue, make more profits. How do you do that? Well, you need happy customers. So you need customers coming, buying your products. You need customers coming back again and again and again. So you have to be willing to take care of your customers, but that's not your primary role. Your primary role is to take care of the shareholders. But in order to keep the customers happy, you also need happy employees. Again, happy employees is a byproduct of what you need to do, their goal, the shareholder value, but it's not the number one duty. And that can be very apparent when it comes to when you have to lay off employees, when you have to fire employees, because you might say, why don't you just keep them? Or why don't you just pay them a little bit more? Well, right now, they're focused on just driving up shareholder value. And sometimes you can build this like short-term mindset where you don't realize, okay, yeah, if I just squeeze out a few more dollars out of my employees right now, at least we'll be able to drive up profits and drive up the share price right now. But you start to lose sight of the long-term value of companies. So some of the newer companies, they understand this, they're hip with the idea, they want to take better care of their employees. But the main thing that I want you to understand, because you're going to see a big range of companies, some that don't care about their employees, some that care a lot about their employees. At the end of the day, the executives are working to drive up share value.
Right. Cake batter, there are more stakeholders than just shareholders. Right. Interesting. When it comes to what Minority Mindset just said, I always find that interesting. Like, yeah, the shareholders, the job of the CEO is to make money for the company and to make the shareholders happy. They don't care really. And a lot of people get that confused with, if most CEOs, I want to say, people are generally, I want to believe that they're good people, but the CEO's job is to make the company more money, more profits. And if they have to cut corners here, maybe not pay you what you're supposed to be paid, then it kind of is what it is. And it's unfortunate that, obviously if you want to keep your shareholders, which could be, people, which tends to not be, middle, lower class people that are working, you have to, it's like a catch-22, because you have to also be able to provide value for the shareholders, which is making them money in order for them to continue to invest in your company. And if you don't have people investing in your company, then the people that work for your company, lower middle class people, they're not going to have a job to come to anyway. So it kind of is what it is.
So what you want to do is you got to understand how the system works, right? Because most of us are taught to go to school, get a degree, get a job, and then climb up the corporate ladder. But that's not what wealthy people are doing. No. Wealthy people are not working to climb up the corporate ladder. Right. Sure, that's one thing that you can do to earn a bigger salary. But if you really want to earn more and build wealth, instead of just climbing the corporate ladder, you also want to work to own the corporate ladder.
Right.
That's what Elon Musk did. He didn't work to climb the Twitter corporate ladder. He just bought the corporate ladder. Now, obviously, that is an extreme, right? Most people don't have billions of dollars. They're not worth billions of dollars. But what you can do is start to do it on a smaller scale, work to own the corporate ladder. The way you do that, you go to work, you get a paycheck, right? That's your labor, that's your salary. You want to take the salary that you're earning, use at least a piece of it to own a piece of the corporate ladder. If your company is public, you can go and buy some shares of the company. Maybe they pay you in equity. But if your company is not public, or if you don't like your company, then you can go out and buy shares of other companies. That way now you're buying some of that equity. You're buying ownership in the companies. And now you're not just working to climb the corporate ladder, you're working to own the corporate ladder, because that's where the real wealth is built. Our society is called a capitalist society. Hate it or love it, that's what it is.
Okay. That was pretty much the take of the whole Elon Musk situation. I'm gonna be really interested in seeing what he does with the company in itself, because I haven't had a Twitter. Like, when it first came out, I started using it, but Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, they were all combined together around that same time. And me being of the generation to probably be a part of one of the first online social medias, which was, I believe, was Skonex. It was Skonex back in the day in New York, and that was a thing. And then there was MySpace, and then after MySpace slowly started to die after they sold it, then it became Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All three of those things, and they've been around for a long time. And I mean, from talking to people, younger kids that are, obviously, I'm 33, but people younger than me, these kids aren't signing up for Facebook. Some of them are signing up for Instagram, but most of these kids are on like TikTok and stuff. And the thing about it is, with Twitter, when I was on Twitter, I would just write silly stuff when I was young and in college, and where's the party at tonight, stuff like that. But for the most part, I don't find it interesting to be on there watching people reading stuff. I'd rather watch a YouTube video for entertainment, if that's the case, to, see a comedy skit on YouTube or something, or, financial education, all that stuff on there. But I mean, who am I? That's just my thoughts on the whole social media of Twitter, because I kind of thought it was going to be a dying company in the first place. And like Minority Mindset said, this company has been losing money at that. So I don't know. That's all I got for y'all. Hit the like, comment, share, subscribe, and I holla. Dreams always been vivid.